Hi guys, and welcome to this video on Onshape. This video is going to be a video that will cover some key techniques in Onshape. Those techniques are going to be the split tool, the shell tool, the sweep tool, and also the draft tool. So even though the video looks pretty simple with it just being a box, we use quite a few different tools to create the desired effects. So I've created a translucent box here. It's in two parts. You should know about parts because we've learned about those in previous videos. So if I hide the top, you can see that if I scroll around or look inside the box, it's hollow in the inside. And also what we've got is we've got a ledge here that the other box, if I show you the box, the other box then fits into here. So this is what an actual manufactured part would look like. So to create those lips for two boxes to slot inside each other. We've also got on it as well, if we look at the right view, you can see here from the internal part, we've got this draft angle here. So the box goes inwards. Again, we've learnt about angles when we've learned about vacuum forming. This is in place, so this could come out of the mould if this was a manufactured part. Now this would be manufactured by injection moulding, so it's good to be able to consider how to draw things properly as they would do in industry. So using the draft feature and also the shell feature. So let's get into it. Let's start it and let's begin. So I'm going to start by just creating a new document as you would normally do. Just go to create document. I'm going to call it box 2 because I've already got a box in most files. So box 2, okay. Then that'll open up our window. So again, straightforward stuff here. We're going to sketch. I'm going to sketch on the top work plane. There should be nothing new here that you don't know. I'm going to hide the front work plane because it's going to get in the way for what we need today. I'm going to turn the view to top, okay, and I'm going to use the center point rectangle. So click, and then we'll pull it out into the correct size. The correct size for this box is going to be 150 across by 100 wide. So dimension tool, click to here, bring that down, type in 150, enter. So you can see that it puts the constraints in, and then this side as well is going to be 100. That's fully constrained. We've got everything in black, which is good. So then I can just do that to show you where we're going with this. We can then just click Finish Sketch. That's a sketch finished. Now, the great thing about drawing on the work plane and using the extrude tool, which we haven't covered yet, is that we can use the work plane to split our drawings. So if we click extrude, and I want to extrude this, so again, we've seen this before, but I want my box to be 100 total in its total height. So what I'm going to do is, rather than typing 100 in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from blind to symmetric. Okay, so you can see there that what it's done is the work plane has gone through the middle, and each of these are now 25. Okay, so that's really useful if you want to draw things or work on the middle of something. So isometric there, and that'll become more relevant as we go through this lesson. So again, make sure symmetric is ticked. I'm going to type in 50 here. I wouldn't type in 100. If I typed in 100, it'd be 100 lower down here, and it'd be 100 above. It'd be a total of 200 in height. I'm going to type in 50, which means that it's going to give me 50 either side. I'm happy with that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to split this box in half. So because we want two halves. So rather than trying to draw two parts, we're going to split it in half, which makes working a bit easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select the tool that is split. Trying to remember which one it is. That one, maybe not thicken. There we go, it's this one, split. Okay, and again, it's pretty simple to use. The tools are saying, right, first, what parts do you want to split? Okay, well, this is the part, split that in half. Entity which you want to split with. So what do you want to use to split it in half? Okay, so click that. I want to use this work plane, like that. And now it looks like it hasn't done anything, but if you look over to the left, we now have two parts. We have our top part, so happy with that. We have our top part, and then we have our bottom part as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click that because it's hidden. I'm going to call it rename. I'm going to call it top. So it just makes life a little bit easier when I'm working. And then I'm going to unhide it, and I'm going to type that one. Right click, rename, bottom. So again, all this naming parts as you go along is just good habit. It means that your workflow is good, and it means that things are easier to use. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fillet around the box. So I'm going to select the fillet tool like that. And rather than selecting all these edges, okay, one by one, which will take a long time, I'm going to set my fillet radius to 2.5, like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and draw a box around it all. And you'll see then that it does all the edges for me in one go, like that. Okay. Just lost the internet connection there. Let's reload that. Oh, actually, what I've done there is I've made a mistake. Okay, so ignore that fillet. I've gone ahead of myself there. So I'm just going to delete that. Okay, and this is also a good demonstration because I can go back to my extrude. I'm going to delete that split. Okay, so now we've got one object. So what I should have done was I should have put the fillet on before I split the block. So apologies for that. So I'm going to go into fillet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it all, change that to 2.5. Okay, and then click OK. That's the correct way to do it. Otherwise, it puts the fillet on this split, which we don't want. So we have to now go back and just re-split it again. So again, that's pretty easy to do. So I'm going to go to the split tool. So split here, and then I'm going to click the part, which is that. Entity to split, click that, and then split that through there. Okay, and then I've got my two parts and the fillet done correctly. Okay, so rename that, that's top, and rename that, just check, rename that is bottom. Okay, top and bottom. So we now have our box, and what we want to do now is we want to shell it out. So we're going to shell the top and also shell the bottom. So we'll do it in two separate processes. So I'm going to just hide the bottom for the time being. I'm going to spin round so I'll work on the top part, and I'm going to look for the shell tool, this one. Shell is a great tool because you click it, and then we're going to have a wall thickness of 2.5. I click this, and it shells it out. So wall thickness of 2.5, automatically done for me. So that's really good. So that's there. That's that one done. So that's the wall thickness 2.5 done. Now I'm going to put that back on, hide that one. Again, do the same thing as before. Go to the shell tool, just click the face, shells it out for you. Okay, that's that done. So now if we unhide it, we can see, well, we can't see, but if I change that to translucent, this menu's got some interesting views. So translucent, you can see that it's got a box of two halves. Now I'm just going to go back to shaded. I'm going to show you a little trick as well that's also quite good to use. So I'm just going to go to isometric, just to get the view of what's before. Also here, we have what we call the cross-section view. So what we can do is if we go to this menu here and we go turn on section view, that is a view looking like it's been chopped in half, but it wants to ask me what work plane do I want to chop it in half with. So it makes sense to use this right one. And then it cuts it in half. Don't worry, it hasn't actually cut it off in real life. It's just giving us a view that we can work with. Okay, that's what it's doing. So now I can view with this work plane. I want to draw inside of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch. So I'm going to click sketch, and I want to be drawn on this right work plane. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another little tool that's very useful that's called where is it gone? Not mirror, not construction, use. Okay, use. So this tool allows us to use geometry from an existing drawing and project it onto your work plane. So what I can do is I can click this and I can select this line here and this line here. And if I just spin around the view, you can see that it's projected those lines onto this work plane, which I'm going to use as a reference. Okay, I'm going to use it as a reference. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the corner rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw from here my part that's going to create a little shelf. So I'm going to click that. And the reason why I use that geometry as a reference is because it allows me to find this point here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make these the correct sizes. So to make them the correct sizes, I'm going to click this dimension tool, and I want this as a height of 2.75. And then I want it as a width as 1.25. Great. Now that's done, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the dimension tool, and I'm just going to click it, and delete that geometry I projected before. Just click it, and then click it. Don't need it anymore. The important bit is this bit here, and I use that geometry that was inside that line there to project onto the work plane so I could draw that part there. It gives me just a reference point, which makes things more accurate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish that sketch, like so. And I'm going to turn off the cross-section view, so come across and turn off the section view. And now we are back at the point where we first started. So now what I want to do is I want to hide the bottom of the box. Okay, and I want to basically cut out the ledge. So that little ledge that's on the, like a lap joint. So I want to cut that out of here. And again, there's a really nice tool in Onshape that we can do with that. I'm going to hide these work planes just so you can see things a little bit better. And that tool is called sweep. The best way to explain sweep is if we have a like a shape or a face like this. So I select that faces. I have to spin around to actually view it. So that face there, so that's the face. You're saying, okay, that's the face. Now you want to sweep it. Now sweeping it is it will follow path and it will cut. Okay, so I want to say it's going to remove, and the path I want it to follow is this line here. So you can see it's swept it through here, following that line. Again with there, whatever path I follow, okay, like that. So if I just spin a view, you can see that that shape has cut that out of there, following that path around, using that top inner line as a guide. So, but remember, you have to click remove. So that's that part done. Okay, so we have our ledge that's been cut out with the sweep tool. Really nice tool, really easy to use. It's how you would draw if you had a cable coming out of here, like a wire. You could draw like a squiggly line and then put a circle at the end of it and sweep it and make it follow that path. So again, great tool to use. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just turn off the bottom and then go back to the top. And this time we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to add material. So we need to turn our sketch on so you can see it. So there it is. A bit more awkward working this way because you've got a bit of a funny view. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the sweep tool again. And I'm going to select the face. So this time I want to add. I'm going to select the face. So it's saying, right, that's the sort of profile. The sweep path I want you to follow is here. So you can see as I'm clicking, it's adding that material on around the face for me, the inside line. Okay, there we go, it's added that on. So that's that done. So that's the sweep tool, really good tool. And now we can, if we turn them both on, whoops, that's both off, like that. And if I revisit the cross-section tool, so let's just turn that right face on. Okay, and let's just go to the cross-section, turn section view on. It's going to say to us again what plane, I want to cut it in half of this plane. And I'm just going to view from the left. Okay, and we can see, oops, just close that sketch. Let's go back, turn the section view off. Let's just unturn that sketch off. Let's do that again. So let's go to turn section view on. And if we just select the plane as the right plane, we can see, right, that's not going to do it. Oh, that's probably why. Let's get rid of some of these. You can see that that part is cut out and it fits perfectly. So I'm now going to go back to turn section view off and escape. Like that. One last thing we're going to do now, just to show you another thing that's very useful, is we are going to put a draft angle on the inside of our part. Now the draft angle, we've learnt about that in plastics. It helps us get the parts out of the molds. This would be injection molded. So again, we're just going to focus on probably doing the bottom first to show you what I mean. So to create the draft angle, what we do is we have to use the draft tool. So that tool there is called draft. The first thing it's going to ask us for is a neutral plane. So that's a plane where we can take the angle out from. And a good place to select is a flat face. So like here. Okay. Then it's going to say entities to draft. That means what do you want to draft? What do you want to angle out? So I'll click that. I'm going to say I want to click that face. And as you can see, it just comes out a little bit. That one. Because it's only 3 degrees. It's minimal, but you will see it moving when we click it. So it pops out like that. And click OK. Good way to check it is just change view. Go down to this view here and just go translucent, and you will be able to see that internal edge going in towards the bottom like that. And that means you have a draft angle on the inside face of your product. So like that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is going to hide that one. I'm just going to do the other one. For this one, I'll leave the translucent on so you might be able to see it a bit better. So again, same sort of idea. So you're going to click the draft tool, and then we're going to click that flat face just there. Then you're going to say entities to draft, and you're going to select that there, that one, spin round, and then that one. And then we're going to click finish, and then I'm just going to go back to isometric, and we can see now, if I look at the right, that has gone in the opposite way. So if I show both parts now, in the view, front view, you can see there that we have the lap joint in the middle with the two parts joining, and the internal surfaces have got a draft angle on them. Okay, so that would be a box that could slot together and have internal draft angles. If you want to make it look a bit better, what you can do is you can highlight it all like that. You can right click and you can go to assign edit appearance. You can add your color for like purple today maybe. And then if you want to make it more transparent, you can slide that to get more transparency or less transparency. So that lesson today has talked about 4 features, 4 new tools that you've learned how to use. So firstly, the split tool. So splitting an object in half, but making sure that you have drawn on either side of the work plane, allowing for the work plane to split in half. Then you've also used the sweep tool. So the sweep, we have to first draw the cross section, then we have to select the path that it sweeps through. So we can either add with a sweep, so add material onto your sweep, or we can take away with a sweep, so cut a path out. And then the last one is adding a draft. So making a face angle in. And in this case, we've done it to replicate a manufactured part, an injection molded part, what would it look like. So that's the end of the lesson. And that's